you're not quite sure where you end and it begins, because it's like it becomes one with you. So the ego goes at that point. I mean, you become friends with the in-betweenness of things, is how I would put it. So I think you're right, yes. And a good therapist, a good Jungian, is always trying to get you to that place of surrender, to love, fundamentally. You know, I've come to the view that most violence is a form of self-hatred. It's self-violence we're doing to each other and to ourselves. We're involved in a collective mass suicide as a planet. If nuclear weapons go off and kill us all, it's a mass suicide we've done, like Jim Jones type thing, who, if you recall, in Latin America, he was another cult figure like Rajneesh, who had all his disciples commit suicide as a, they're coming to get us, let's all die.
I don't know this story.
Do you know that story?
No.
That was in the 70s again. This guy Jim Jones was a sort of Christian, evangelical, New Age guy who thought, I think he thought he was some kind of Messiah, and his disciples did, and they built a temple in Costa Rica, I think it was, in the jungle, or another state, maybe Belize, and they set up like the perfect hippie commune, only they had armed guards. They had, it was like run like a there was a military side to it, because they were afraid of the others who might come and get them. And an American congressman flew down there because the parents of one of the girls who was in the commune complained had she been abducted. So he flew down as an inquiry, what's going on here. And very soon after, or around about that time, Jim Jones decided the Antichrist was coming. The CIA was going to get them. So we'll just kill ourselves. And then they won't kill us, we'll have done it first. Kind of, and about 80 of them all drank this thing, which was pretended to be Kool-Aid. And there's an expression in English when we say if somebody's slightly crazy and self-destructive, we say, you drank the Kool-Aid then. I don't know if you've heard of that expression. It was a tragedy, an archetypal tragedy. It's a very good documentary about it I watched. And it shows religion is pathological if it's not handled carefully. And that's the danger with cults that offer total salvation, because they then project onto the other the absolute evil. So, yes, therapy is very much needed. And there is a spiritual inflation that comes with people like Jim Jones and Rajneesh that has to be guarded against, How did Christ cope with it? That's a very interesting question. But we'll talk about that another time, maybe. Right, well, I think we've done our duty here. I'm going to finish there. I'd read a poem, but I don't think I've got them to hand. So, I won't, unless I can find a poem in here, it's possible. Can you see? No, they're not there, I don't think.
Another green book?
Yeah, if there's a volume of the poems, I'll finish with one. Yeah, that'll do, that one. Volume 5. Any of these. Thank you. Great. Yes.
There is the Kate Bush song, but...
I'll read this. I'll read a poem. This is the one that came. This is from volume 5 of my collected works, which I wrote between 2010 and 2012. This is called The Lost Word. It's the word that has shattered into countless fragments, sundered apart into lines and scribbles in ancient codices, hiding in swirls and spirals of Celtic uncials, where St. John peeps out, pen in hand, like a time-travelling hippie stumbled into a dark age. It is the word that's hiding in poems and rhymes that mostly never get written down. Thoughts of fire that blaze in the mind, like a fire blazing with life itself, and the pop and the spark of a dragon rising up to share magic, and then settling down back into slumber for a myriad of years. It is the word given between lovers and pledged around the fires at Beltane, or in the cool halls and aisles of the stone-forested cathedrals, yet which is sometimes ignored and becomes something to disdain, to disown, to betray. And in those false oath swearings, all of tragedy, all pain comes tumbling out, like from Pandora, all the fierceness of jealousy, the deep aching pain, all the harpies of lost love, until hope finally also comes out, looking a little lost. It is that lost word of loyalty that was forsworn again and again between knights before the king, until the banners charged hard and went down to the long fields to force another onslaught from brokenness, and it got etched in steel on the bone, deep cutting. It is the lost word that came down to us, the unconsolable Logos, who superimposed our forms and features for a little while, to tempt us to remember and come true again, and to love wholly. And we're still singing, trying to remember. The Lost Word. I like that poem.